plane. It's Superboy. It's Supergirl.
Or Superman.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action.
This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright.
And you're listening to The Krypton Report.
And you're listening to Krypton Report.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird.
It's a plane! It's the Krypton Report!
The All Things Kryptonian podcast, including Superman and Supergirl.
We discuss games, movies, cartoons, TV shows, and comics.
Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Welcome to the Krypton Report. Today's episode is brought to you by being shut in, because sometimes we still got to stay inside because people are crazy. Now, with me today is the man who needs no introduction, the man whose voice cuts through all the BS, Mr. James Cole. Welcome, James.
Hey, Tyler.
Man, I feel like we haven't done this in a while. Like, it's just time, man. It's been crazy. Like,
it's crazy how not being able to go anywhere you want all the time really makes, like, you so much busier.
Yeah, like, I'm finding things to do, but, like, over the past, time frame, I've helped my father-in-law build a pool and do all the stuff that goes along with that. So that's been daunting, and it just seems like, I don't know, I've done a lot of stuff with the kids, trying to keep them busy, because they'll keep asking me stuff about wanting to go to do this or to do this or what, and just, constantly have to re-explain things. And Solomon, he seems to, like, he pays attention to stuff, and he'll make comments that are kind of like, they're smart, but they're still kind of sad, because he'll be like, maybe the coronavirus will be over by my birthday and we can do this. And it's just like, man. It's like,
yeah, it's, I don't know. Kids are so great, and, like, they'll make you so happy. They'll make you so sad. They'll make you so angry. Like,
yeah. And then
they can elicit every emotion from you pretty much to the extreme.
And then your daughter turns around and gives you this big hug and goes, "You're the best daddy," out of nowhere. And you're just like, thank you. Like, all right. I can now, like, I'm now Leonidas charging the 300. But you know what?
Yeah.
Let's talk some fun stuff, man. Let's talk some.
But after a while, you need some adult conversation.
Oh, you do.
Definitely.
You do. So we're going to talk about comics. And we're going to back it up here to some news that it's a little been some events going on. So we'll start here. Ready? Stargirl is going to have a season 2. But Stargirl season 2 is coming to the CW proper, not DC Universe. So
yeah, that last part's sad news.
So that right there just basically tells me that DC Universe original shows are done. Like, there's been no announcement. I mean, we got Fandom coming up, and we know Titans is supposed to get a season 3. But there's been no, like, next we're going to try this show, or, like, this has been announced, Swamp Thing was canceled so quickly, and, Harley Quinn is going to be on Sci-Fi and then HBO Max, and so Stargirl's going to be on the CW, which...
Man, DC is making that money, though. Like, those shows going to different networks, like, DC is really spreading it around.
Which
it's kind of sad to see the DC Universe, the app, the niche service that it was, kind of come and go. But, I mean, I'm glad that, as it seems, they want to continue to move forward with that and do things on HBO Max, and DC properties with like HBO money, like Watchmen was fantastic. HBO writing, HBO money. It's going to be really good, for some things or for DC to keep moving forward on HBO Max. But, Stargirl season 2 on the CW, I mean,
is it going to be another like
as long
Supergirl?
as they don't,
that's what I'm wondering.
that's the idea. As long as they don't absorb it as like a holy thing, like in its entirety, like try to move it up to Vancouver, and no, they need to continue shooting in like Atlanta, I believe is what I heard, where they shoot at. They need to continue shooting there. They need to continue to have the same writing team and production team. They need to keep the episode count where it is and keep the pacing. They need to stick to the point.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't need CW writers bringing in filler and dramatic irony, because the show doesn't have it, and the show is so much better than anything else they've put out.
Yes. I am loving it. I have loved these past episodes.
Okay, not entirely, but definitely anything that's been on the CW or going to.
I think about like Black Lightning's filmed in Georgia also. So maybe we can keep it in Georgia. Keep it at the same, keep everything the way it is, but just broadcast it on the CW.
Exactly. That's it. Just broadcast on CW. Sure, CW.
And eventually you can probably bring Stargirl in for a crossover, because they'll have to discover the new multiverse. But yeah, I don't want it to be kind of like Supergirl season 2, where, everything changed from its move. And, I think I haven't rewatched season 1 in a while, and I'd like to do that. And I think Supergirl did fine with it, but I don't know, man.
No, it's just, with the CW, it's crazy over the years how they've done what they've done, like Smallville and Birds of Prey, and then they go into the new era of shows, and they've got Arrow and The Flash and all the new shows, and like there are times when they're leaning into the comic books and leaning into the source material of it, as inspiration. But then there are times when they just, they just crap the bed by putting in a bunch of stuff that doesn't need to be there. Making these characters lose character development for the sake of dramatic irony.
Well, yeah. And
that's literally the biggest that's the biggest gripe, and it's getting harder to ignore when these CW shows sacrifice their character development for dramatic irony just because they need to fill time.
I think it's because you just have like writers that just get shifted around to each series, and we're not getting.
That's true too.
It's like they have this huge pool, but they're like, okay, you've written for The Flash, now go over here and write, and they're basically like taking similar themes and ideas and just reworking the same thing over here now. And you have fresh, different writers, different approaches, different styles with these DC original shows than the formulaic, because even Stargirl kind of has like Team Stargirl, but it's the JSA, but it doesn't feel like Team Arrow or Team Flash or Team Supergirl,
Yeah.
Pat's not the man in the chair kind of thing, There's a different feel to it, and I'm loving everything Stargirl, man. Like, did you watch today's episode?
I have not watched today's episode.
Oh my God, dude, is it good? Like, I was getting choked up at the end, and I won't say any more, but like, these past episodes have just... Wow. So as of this recording, just for people who are listening, we just episode that just aired was Brainwave Jr. episode 10. And episode 9, Brainwave, was adorable to watch because Jania had done Sayla's hair in curls the night before. So we're watching the episode, and Solomon goes, Sayla, your hair's like Courtney. And she goes, oh, I like Courtney hair. And she runs to her room. And then a couple minutes later comes running back out and has on a red shirt and brought a necklace that looks like a heart so that she could kind of match Courtney's outfit.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
And it was just adorable to watch. And that's what I love about this show, though. Like, you know, Sayla, like, right now is, like, really loving her new Supergirl costume. And I just did some pictures with her today in it. But she's not really latched onto the show. But she loves watching the Stargirl show. And that's what I love about this show is it's something positive that I can watch with my children, and they understand it. And, like, in today's episode, I'm not giving anything away, but what happened, Solomon was like, wow, Daddy. He understood what was going on, and to a little bit of a more of a depth without it being so much. And I don't want to lose that on the CW. Like, I don't want to lose.
Yeah, definitely not.
And I hate using this term, but, like, the innocence and the fun of the show and the familyness of the show.
Yeah, because and it's not like there aren't like adult themes in this show, but the show really appeals to such a broad age range that, you know, Supergirl, like, we want our daughters to watch Supergirl, but the majority of the show is so full of adult themes.
Right.
Just so full, in your face, adult with the adult themes, and that's hard for a child to get any interest peaked in.
Exactly. And that's why this show is a hit. Is, you know, the character is a cool character, but it's not like a top tier character. But the show as a whole, like the way it's working, is what's making it a hit.
Being able to appeal to such an age range. I mean, there are plenty of adult themes in the show. I mean, the show started out with the JSA being killed, with Starman being killed. So, I mean, there's plenty of adult themes in this show, but the way that they're able to use those sparingly in and out and have the characters, even though they're teenagers, appeal to children. I mean, Sayla's 3, right? Mm-hmm. 3 years old. Yeah. I mean, the show is colorful, and all of the characters in and out of costume, they're lively. They're a good bunch, and it just, it works great. They nailed it. And, you can't say that about any show really on the CW that actually nails that demographic, literally from 3 years old to 83 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a guy I work with, 67 years old, he's watching Stargirl. Him and his wife are watching Stargirl. His wife's 72.
Because it's a great show.
Yeah.
And I'm actually looking forward to watching the entire season when it's finished, just straight through. But speaking of shows,
I'm sure Bella will want to watch the whole show.
So speaking of shows announcement, we have our new Batwoman. And I'm going to try to pronounce this, and I apologize. I'm horrible with names until I at least hear it. Javicia Leslie is to portray Ryan Wilder, the new Batwoman. She is an African-American actress. And, all right, like, I mean, the picture they have in the posting, she looks cool. It's going to be an interesting, just kind of take in the sense that, like, the fact that she is African American pops in the sense that you're going to know it's not the same Batwoman. Like in the one episode where Julia dressed up as Batwoman, you didn't really know it was a different person. But this is going to definitely, and I say that, for the mass media and in world of the episodes, they're going to know, this isn't the same Batwoman we had last year. They're going to know it's a different person. So that's going to be kind of interesting. It's going to be interesting to just try to rebuild that character of Batwoman with the people that she interacts with. The other superheroes, her team, really where this is going to go. And, it's a character that I'm not that connected to, that I'm up in arms about. So I'm kind of all right, let's see what happens, It's,
yeah, I mean, it's going to be see what happens. It's going to be a very different show because you spent the first season building up these relationships that are going to be non-existent as soon as it comes back. So, you're starting from pretty much square one. I mean, maybe maybe 0.5 of the way, halfway there, just because all these characters, but they're going to be different because their interactions are not going to be the same. They're not going to have that chemistry. They're not going to have that character build up, the storylines in between them and Kate Kane, because she's not going to be there.
Right. And I mean, that was the heart of the show, is her family. So how does Alice play a role now? How does Jacob really play a role now? But we'll wait and see, part of it was the Batwoman Supergirl thing, the idea that they were cousins to these legendary heroes, and that's, that relationship is done. So how does that play into things? But we have our actress, we have the show's going to keep moving. So, I mean, I'm excited just because it could be a whole fresh start and it could be a lot better. So, all right,
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said it.
We're going to skip over this one piece of news I have because I think it's going to be a longer talking point. We got a cheetah teaser photo. Did you see that? The photo of the cheetah where it's the 3 colors.
Oh, yeah. I think she looks good. I'm glad they didn't Alex Ross it and have a cheetah suit. But I think, I don't know how slim Kristen Wiig is, because she always wears suits and stuff in movies and things like that. But she she's tall and you can tell she's a slimmer individual, but the way that her body looks, just how really slender the midsection is, the waist, it almost looks like a cheetah. Yeah. Because cheetahs are very slim in the middle.
I mean, she looks cool. I mean, her mouth is closed. We don't see any teeth. We don't see any claws. It looks like a David Bowie album cover. She looks like David Bowie in a way. So it's kind of cool, I'm interested. I'm excited, I'm waiting for something, a trailer or something, because just to kind of keep up the interest, because it's merchandise is so spotty for this. I see stuff and then it's gone. So it's kind of crazy.
They keep pulling back merchandising because it needs to line up with the release of the movie, and the movie's not coming out yet because nothing's coming out yet.
I highly, man, I don't really want to speculate and go down the hole, but I will wonder if we will see that movie this year or not.
Man, I wish I could do like a drive-in kind of thing, people in their own vehicles separate from each other and be able to see Wonder Woman. That'd be awesome.
It would be awesome if they would try to change, even the movie change, try to set up parking lot drive-ins or something, because we have a drive-in here near us and it does really well.
Yeah, so do we.
It's just they're not getting.
I'm pretty sure the drive-in here is open. At least yeah, it is. Okay, yeah.
Ours is open.
Yeah, the drive-in here is open. So, but yeah, they're not getting anything new.
And that's the problem. Is
nothing new to put up there.
They first opened, and the movies they had were Onward and Jumanji, and I was like, that's cool, but I have them sitting here. And I'm pulling it up right now. They're open, and they will be showing Shrek and Back to the Future.
Wow.
And then the next week is going to be Into the Spider-Verse and Ghostbusters.
Oh, that's awesome, though.
It is awesome. But see, with Ghostbusters, it's cool because I never saw that on the big screen. So that can be something fun and an event. They had Jurassic Park a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Dang, that would have been fun to go to." But so it's just one of those things where, as of today, they put Christopher Nolan's Tenet on indefinite hiatus and pulled it from the schedule. So, and that was supposed to be the big tentpole film that theaters were looking at to help bring in people to reopen too. So now that's being pulled. And I saw something the other day talked about it might be next year when we get the new James Bond movie. So Sonic the Hedgehog might win Best Visual Effects, Best Actor, Best Picture for 2020. Because, yeah.
Looks like later this week they're playing Beauty and the Beast, the new one with Emma Watson, and Iron Man.
Well, that'd be kind of cool. I mean, it's been long enough. It's been long enough,
Yeah.
But, so all that to say, the Cheetah picture looks cool, but it's not enough to really get me excited because I don't feel like I'm really seeing anything more than what I kind of have been teased before. We're getting Atom Smasher in the Black Adam movie, played by Noah Cento. I think how you pronounce his name.
I don't know the guy.
I saw him in one of those cheesy.
Just like the woman for Batwoman, I have never seen her or him in anything.
Let's see.
Unless I haven't realized it.
I watched a movie, Janine. It was a Netflix romantic kind of movie called The Perfect Date, and we watched it on Netflix, and he was okay. And Atom Smasher is one of those characters you're just kind of okay, you can kind of make whoever. So, and he's supposedly supposed to be the actor that's supposed to be He-Man in the it'll probably never get made Masters of the Universe He-Man movie.
Yeah, I seen that connection, but other than that, I haven't seen anything else. I was like, oh, that's the guy who was rumored to be He-Man a while back.
I mean, I can kind of see a little bit in his face, and so whatever. But that's just cool that they're kind of expanding the Black Adam cast with Atom Smasher. But all right,
Well, they said they're going to be having the JSA in there, so if they cast Atom Smasher, then I mean, they're lining it up, aren't they? I mean,
yeah.
It's like it sounds like the JSA is going to be in it. It's not just a rumor anymore. If there's an official cast for one of the characters.
And let's see. Moving on, more TV. Doom Patrol still on. And how are you digging season 2?
I mean, I still love the show. It's all the characters are dealing with something new this season. The cast is amazing. They nail it every time. Chief and Dorothy are like the questions. Like the woman who plays Dorothy is doing a fantastic job. She nailed it, and I mean, so is Chief. Everybody's nailed it. It's just the storyline. It's, what's the Chief doing, especially at the end of this last episode that came out?
Yes.
Space Patrol. It's like, really? Like, just an ounce of sympathy after everything, and then you freaking burn it. You burn that bridge again. Like, there's no more left.
Right. So, I just want to point out we just watched episode 6, Space Patrol, and there's only 9 episodes to this season. So it's kind of crazy. You think about it, they dropped the first 3 episodes, and then, we only have 9 of this season.
Right.
And it's just...
Well, there was that story where they potentially had just a few scenes left to shoot. They were almost done, but they couldn't finish some scenes for a final 10th episode.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, you know what? I mean,
possible.
it's an HBO show, considering it's a streaming show. They could easily truncate a 10th episode and fit it into 9, and instead of 9 being 150 minutes, maybe or 50 minutes, maybe it's 75, 80 minutes.
That's true. And I mean, that'd be kind of cool, though. I mean, just kind of like, remember when Titans first dropped and it had that extra episode, then all of a sudden it disappeared. And they seem to be like, oh, we got season 2, so let's really stretch it out now. Instead of giving everybody the Titans at the end of season 1, let's really stretch that sucker out for another season. Mm-hmm. So I like Doom Patrol. It's just interesting because, like, my issue is they never do anything as a team. They're just, like, all randomly doing stuff at different times that kind of connect. But at the same time, I know the characters, and it's still crazy, but I don't know. I like it a little bit more this season. Especially with, I feel like the pacing's a little quicker. Like with Larry, I'm liking his story. Cyborg, I'm liking his. Crazy Jane has some interesting stuff going on. I mean, it's all been really good. I think Cliff is crazy. Like, he seems he's a little bit more out there than he was last season. Like, I don't know. If in a way, I feel like with him, like, he had resolved some stuff, but then he just, like, completely fell back into it all. So, but I like it. It's good. It's definitely like the adult DC show, I think, as it should be, because it has the ability to. Because there's no kid out there who's like, oh, I want to watch Robot Man, or I
want to watch Robot Man and him drop like 84 F-bombs in 3 episodes.
Exactly. It's the team and the characters that you can actually explore and go into those more adult themes, because it's not a character that is a mass audience character. So, but yeah. Doom Patrol's been interesting, and maybe we'll find out there's a 4th season at Fandom.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, so now the big news for television. Matt Reeves and HBO Max have said they're going to do a Gotham PD show that ties into his Batman film. And they said it looks like it's going to be more of a prequel to his Batman film. I thought about this for a little bit, because my first thought was, okay, that's kind of what Gotham was originally supposed to be, but they completely went a different way with that show. And then I thought about, it's kind of cool if it ties, being HBO, that's a whole different standard, of the type of television it's going to be produced. So that's exciting.
And it's not being run by Bruno Haller.
Yeah, I think it's the guy who did The Sopranos, maybe? It was
he was a writer on The Sopranos. Who else was involved?
So that's exciting, especially if they have Jeffrey Wright, who just did HBO Westworld, or is still on Westworld. I don't know. And I mean, that can be really interesting of building secondary characters or characters you want to slip into a movie later on, like the sequel or whatever, and really thickening the universe up. It makes me kind of interested, will this series come out before the movie? Will we get this before we get to see the Batman that it's tentatively being called?
I mean, I find that pretty unlikely that the show would come out before the movie. I don't know. I've heard conflicting. I thought I saw something that said maybe prequel, but I heard that maybe not. I don't know. It's going to be a different show than Gotham. I pretty much have no doubt about that. Prequel to the movie. I mean, if it doesn't have Batman in it, because I like the idea of the Gotham Central storyline where it's about the police in a world with Batman, in a Gotham with Batman. I really like that idea. That would be really cool. That way you're not gonna see Batman. Mm-hmm. You're gonna see after what Batman did. You're gonna see the stuff that you don't get to see when you follow Batman, because Batman's gone. You follow. What did he leave in his wake? I think that would be really awesome, and it'll be really cool to have a show that, say, could influence the movie. So, like you said, somebody from the show, the world feels the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I listened to Batman on Film. They really went in details about their ideas, and one being it'd be a cool place to bring in Harvey Dent and really build up Harvey as the good Harvey that we know, and then transition him to the movie where he becomes Two-Face. So we could have this we know this character of Harvey Dent before Two-Face. And I was like, that's cool, because we've never got to do that before. He's always been kind of, here he is, and then in The Dark Knight, we get Harvey, and then he's Two-Face by the end, But having a chance to really love Harvey before Two-Face would be cool. They brought Harvey Dent in Gotham, and then he disappeared. But
yeah.
But what I found funny was I heard them say, "Wow, Warner's and them must really be liking what Matt Reeves is giving them, so they're buying in wholeheartedly behind him." And I thought to myself, that's how it was for Snyder until BVS came out and got the backlash. Everybody was loving what they were seeing and they were getting, and then all of a sudden you had the fan backlash or whatever, and it all changed. So to me, it's just kind of funny that, that idea of oh, they're loving what they're seeing. I'm like, are they? So.
Right. Those executives are a fickle bunch.
But, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I'll watch it. I'll watch anything with DC. You know what I'm saying? I'll at least give it a try. There hasn't been a DC show I haven't watched. But, hey, that pretty sums up the news.
There are ones I haven't finished yet, but, yeah, there aren't any that I haven't not watched.
So, in comics-wise, did you read Superman 23?
I did read Superman 23.
I'm just going to say this. The idea of this issue, I like. The execution of this issue, I hate. All right, I'm going to do my rant, and then you can take over, okay? Allow me to gather myself. One, I think this issue should be split in two. I think there should have been one part that was more about Superman venting and discussing his anger and what's going on with him, about partially why he came out as Clark Kent, connecting to the fact of what happened with his son. Because I think back to when John first reappeared aged up and Superman flew out and punched Mongol in the face because he was so angry and needed to hit something, compared to how he talks in this one. It just seems so odd. And the artwork is horrible. I hate the artwork. For something as emotional as this should be, the artwork is super distracting to me. 2, the whole magic thing, I think should be in its own issue. I think it's interesting where they're going with the magic angle. But I think it should have been after this. And the fact that we have a new Dr. Fate that appears here, that I didn't even know there was a new Dr. Fate from another book that I'm not reading. So that was kind of a little interesting. But I don't know, like, I like the idea of this and what he was saying, but I don't like the way it was done. Like, I really don't like the way it was done.
Well, for the most part, he says Kent. He calls Dr. Fate Kent. He thinks it's Kent Nelson, and instead it's Khalid, which this is Bendis kind of like being loosey-goosey with his continuity, because in Justice League Dark, Dr. Fate, Naboo, actually was trying to wipe out magic because of things that were happening during like the witching hour and like with the Upside Down Man and stuff. Like Dr. Fate like ended up being like a bad guy. Kent was not the host, and neither was Khalid. And last I read, they both they weren't wearing the helmet. They were doing magic stuff, but they weren't wearing the helmet or anything like that. I mean, it's back like during the Year of the Villain when he had Martian Manhunter in the room at the same time as Apex Lex. And it's like, okay, well, so is this supposed to take, like, one, they can't be the same, they can't be happening at the same time unless it takes place after the Year of the Villain, which it didn't take place after the Year of the Villain, because that's when Shane traded places with Jean to free Jean from Lex. So like,
Yep.
Like he just writes it loose about whatever it's not connected to what's really going on in the DC universe and the rest of the universe and the rest of the continuity.
But yeah, so I mean, I just, as a father, like the John issues have always resonated with me. I reread Rebirth and everything and was loving that story with Superman as a father, and just how much I hated the fact that they took that away from him.
I'm glad they're using it as a story point now,
Yeah.
But, I mean, at least that's something. They're using it as a story point. But I do agree that making him aged up to, 18-year-old, that definitely missed out on a bunch of stories.
So, but we'll see. I mean, tomorrow, the new DC Tuesdays, the Action Comics comes out, and we'll see where that's going. The only thing I'm interested in Action Comics is just that's where the story with Connor is.
That and Young Justice.
So that's the reason, like, Action Comics has kind of right now been more intriguing, is just because that's the Connor story has been kind of cool, the House of L, but we'll see where Bendis is going to go. We know that his days are numbered, so
yeah. Hopefully, And like we've said before, he's had some hit or misses. I mean, some of the stories have been good, but some of them, like we're not the biggest fans of his run. But
I'm not a hater.
he's had some good issues and stories, and I'm not like trashing his run or anything. It's just not my favorite.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. You know, is I see validity in some of it, and okay. But you know, some of it I don't like. But I'm not a hater like some people who've completely like abandoned, and you know, have been like, this is the worst thing to ever happen to Superman. And I'm just like, those are the people I'm just kind of like, man, like that is harsh.
Right, jump ship. Like, I mean, unfortunately, you'll get writers who are on for a few years, and that'll be like damaging to your enjoyment of the character. But but sometimes you got to wait for the changing of the guard a little bit. I mean, some of what I read of Tom King's Batman, I liked some of it, and a lot of it I didn't. I picked it up again. I started picking it up again, and when Tynan got on it here, and has been writing it since. We'll see what happens come Joker War. I mean, that should be awesome, but we'll see what happens come Joker War and that new suit that I sent you guys today.
I do not like that new suit. There's 3 books that all tie into Joker War that drop tomorrow.
I need to read some Preludes. That's going to be another one of those that it's going to be. Like,
I'm reading them all, like the Preludes and everything. Like,
I haven't read any yet except for Batman. Unfortunately.
And yeah, so I am liking what I'm reading so far. It seems like, you know, when you're in comics and you're reading them all the time, even though there's long periods of time where certain characters disappear and then return, such as the Joker, you feel like they're always in the front because so many times they're on these side stories or side books that are getting a lot of attention. And so it just feels like they're never gone. But yet they've been out of the mainstream like storyline for a while.
Yeah.
But we'll see, you know, we'll see what comics are coming, and it's been interesting. Are you still reading the Superman Man of Tomorrow? Or was it Man of Tomorrow? Why am I blanking? The digital one?
I'm a few issues behind on that one. Probably more than a few now, a handful. I'm
digging it, man. The last issue, though, I read was number 10, and I think I bought 11. Yeah, I have 11. 10 was okay. It had Lobo in it, so it was kind of like, oh, this is a little different.
Oh, nice.
But I've really liked this series so far, and like I said, I haven't read 11 yet, but I have it because I kind of forgot about it, to be honest, just because this week has gone by ridiculously fast. So, but that's about it for my comic.
So much time is friggin' going by so fast. I haven't gotten to read anything.
It's July 20th, man, and it feels like the other day was the 4th of July.
Yeah. My birthday's in 4 days.
I know. And don't forget, I already sent you your gift. You got it early, so I don't want to hear nothing when you ain't got no gift. Okay? You got your awesome Libra Hemo figure a while back.
I did. Yes, I did. Thank you. Yes, I got the Libra Mayho Superman.
So, but just life, man.
It's a great Superman design.
It is.
Yeah, life. Yeah, I haven't been able to read as much as I want. If I get to read one issue in a day, I'm happy.
And it should be like reading comics is so
I
easy.
started reading Flash Forward. Yeah,
I
I
want to read that.
I read Death Metal. I've read Death Metal. I've read all of the deceased stuff. A couple of things that really interest me that I'm keeping up on. And since Death Metal's come out, I am working on reading the 6 issues of Flash Forward. Because from what I've heard and what I can tell, it's going to lead you into kind of some of the things that are happening in Death Metal.
Okay.
So that's part of it. Because have you read any of Flash Forward?
Nope.
Okay, well, Flash Forward takes place after Heroes in Crisis, where Wally is in prison for killing some of those heroes at Sanctuary.
All right. See, I read Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah, so Wally kind of he broke, he cracked, he lost control, and he killed those heroes in Heroes in Crisis. Well, Flash Forward picks up directly after that. He's in prison after that, and there is this. He's a being who lives in between the universes, the regular multiverse and the dark multiverse, and the dark multiverse is, and I'm sure it has something to do with Perpetua and the Batman Who Laughs.
Hold on.
Because in one,
hold that thought. Come back to that because I got to tell you something about the Batman Who Laughs. All right, keep going.
Okay. Because in one of the issues, he goes to one Earth and there's the doom symbol in the sky. So, it's connected to that, at least in some way. But Wally has been tasked to stop the spread of dark multiverse energy from consuming planets. So, like, the first planet that the being sends him to is actually Earth 23 with President Superman and stuff.
Oh, Calvin Ellis?
Yeah. And then he goes to another planet which looks like Earth 3, but for some reason there's vampires. Maybe that's part of a dark energy thing. But that's another issue. But so I think I'm like issue 3 is where I'm at. Maybe about to start issue 4. So I'm right there. Getting close to seeing what happens. Because I don't want to spoil it. But You know what happens. You know where we find Wally in Death Metal, and from what I hear, something happens at the end of this that helps get him there.
Okay. So.
I'm sure that's vague enough for people.
Yeah, I mean, Death Metal.
It's probably too vague for you.
No, it's good. I'm
okay.
following on.
All right.
I've tried to keep. I read Death Metal 1. I haven't got 2 yet. I might. But so today, Solomon. Okay, so he saw the cover of the what do you call it? The issue, the trade for Metal. And it has like the dragon-looking Joker, and he's like, he told me yesterday he was interested in it. Like, is Joker like a dragon or something? And I'm like trying to remember, was he like a dragon? I'm like, I haven't read Metal in so long. So today he's talking to my wife, and he starts telling her the whole story about who the Batman Who Laughs is, where he came from, that he came from the dark multiverse, and he's like part Batman, part Joker, and it was just like watching this 5-year-old explain to my wife this whole concept was just pretty amazing, actually. So
that's actually pretty cool.
I was just like, yeah, and he said, wait, I'll go get it. And he went and got the comic with the ad. So I was like, man. I was like, Solomon, you are the man.
Dude, you are nailing it with those kids.
I try. I try. I am over the hill with just how much Sayla has been like in love with her Supergirl and everything, and just
Right.
wanting to do Supergirl this, and wanting to wear her costume, and I'm like, all right, baby.
Right, I'm not going to argue with you.
But
It's like somebody trying to tell me not to wear a Superman shirt every day.
yeah, you don't need that negativity, man. Like,
You don't?
you tell those people to leave you alone.
Yep. I don't need that kind of negativity in my life.
So, all right. Now, James,
Tyler.
did you watch the next Fleischer cartoon?
I did.
All right. And the next one being, hold on, I want to get The Terror on the Midway. Yeah. Let me hear your thoughts.
The terror. So the ape. It was just like an escaped animal at a circus.
Yeah. Yeah.
With some of the things that Superman is kind of, even this Superman, Fleischer Superman, some of the stuff that character's gone up against, it's like he could throw a chain collar on that gorilla and just walk it around because because that gorilla should not pose a problem.
It shouldn't. It was weird as I was watching it, just because the whole time I'm watching it, I'm constantly getting, like, my kids talking over me. Like, they start out all interested, and they're like, Dad this, Dad this, Dad. I'm like, guys, we're watching this, aren't we? Dad. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't even know what's going on. But Superman's with the gorilla.
Yeah, I did like Lois kind of running out there and saving the girl, putting her up on the bleachers so she could run away.
Well, I mean, that's what Lois does. I mean, let's face it, Lois is a hero.
She put herself right in between the gorilla and the kid.
I mean, Lois does not get enough. She doesn't get enough. What do you call it? Love, like in a lot of stuff. But I think in these old cartoons, just proves how great she is.
So it was. Excuse me. Sorry.
You're fine. I'm tired
It was decent. Yeah. It's late at night here. It was a decent cartoon. It was a decent episode.
I mean, I like all of it. You know that. I mean, I've enjoyed liking these and kind of trying to figure out, what powers did he have at this time? Because...
Yeah. What I did like in this episode was he was like, this is a job for Superman. He didn't say this looks like a job for Superman. He like got there late to the circus or whatever, and all the chaos was already going on. He's like, all right, time to do this.
He's like, do you like the circus? So, but I got a message from my friend the other day that there is on YouTube someone who's gone in and like restored all the Fleischer cartoons to like a very beautiful high resolution. So I will be sharing that link. This is what's weird, is that this is actually the last episode of the Max Fleischer Superman series.
Which, not to jump ahead or anything, but was like the animation style. I was trying to separate the two, trying to see the differences. And there are some, but they did a pretty good job keeping the same style.
Yeah.
Since it's a different studio working on it.
I agree. So, let me go ahead and pull this up here. Because did you watch the first of the Famous Studios?
Yes.
Okay. So, Famous Studios, and this is what's interesting, is...
The Japoteurs.
What do you call it? Terror on the Midway was released August 28th, 1942. And Japoteurs by Famous Studios was released September 18th, 1942. So the next month. So somewhere in the production, they'd already shifted studios. I don't know the whole history behind it. But I just find it interesting because I never even knew what had happened. That there was different.
No, that's not something I knew before, recent times.
And I would have never have known. But I, too, when I was watching the Japoteurs, it's such a weird word.
Yeah.
Was looking at for differences in the art. And I didn't really see anything. Like, there's been some slight inconsistencies maybe in some of the animation of even the Fleischer series. So I didn't really notice anything. But what about you? What did you think of the episode?
I mean, as I said, I just made it a point to kind of to see how much of a difference there was, but they had the music still there, the score, and they still pretty much nailed it. The animation was for the most part like as good, the same style as before. Honestly, I think it was just some of the like the moving parts, different ways the camera panned and the way that like certain things moved in and out of frame. That was just about it. That a couple of things kind of stood out as a little different, but not anything major, not like redesigned characters or anything like that.
Right. That's what just boggles my mind, because even we saw the second episode of the Fleischer series, Lois got an overhaul. And I didn't even realize it until watching it like this, that we had a different original design for Lois. Makes me feel kind of dumb, but whatever. And I'm going to put the link to the episode up so people can kind of see what we're talking about. Oh, it's playing right there. Oh, no.
There it goes.
Be quiet, computer. Because you may see the slight difference. I don't know. You may not. So, but it was an interesting episode, I will say, because it's, I mean, let's just look. Let's just look at the title, okay? The Japoteurs, okay? This is some World War II America kind of propaganda, and it's not as kindly to people, But
yeah, well, Asians weren't painted in the best light in the 40s, unfortunately.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard sometimes to go back, and I mean, we're seeing a lot of that right now with the quote-unquote cancel culture, but I don't want to talk about that. We're talking about fun stuff,
Yeah.
but just the idea.
No, I like when old things like Hanna-Barbera cartoons and things like that, they acknowledge that it was a different time, but to change things would be shameful towards the artists and the production teams and things like that. And just acknowledging the existence. And I mean, none of it was horrible, but it's not good.
Yeah, I mean,
at least the stuff that got released, some of the stuff that probably got cut out was probably too much.
well, like even on Disney Plus, certain things will have when you start the episode, will have a disclaimer about representation and it was the time period and things like that. So it's interesting about that. So,
well, I think it's a disservice from all angles, because if you cut it out, you just try to act like it wasn't a thing, and I think that's wrong too, like you can't forget that type of stuff. History is doomed to repeat itself, and when history is picked through and not taught in its entirety, then the same mistakes get repeated. So
yes,
you can only live and grow from what's actually out there, and people need to know that from generation to generation.
It also just through things you don't think about through this type of storytelling or whatever, we see a snapshot into how life was at that time that maybe some other way we wouldn't see. Like reading old comics, But, so I don't know. It's interesting. All right, man. I think that's about it. Anything else you got to add to it? We're both tired, and it's been a long week, a long day, and
yeah, and the week's just getting started. Thank God it's a short week. Yeah. 1 day shy, but thank God it's a short week. No, I don't really have anything to add tonight.
All right. Well, good listeners, just remember.
Look up in the sky.
Look up in the sky.
Look at the sky.